Hello and welcome everybody. I'm in Wales at 7 p.m. I'm joined by Travis Taylor, who's in San Diego, and it is 11 a.m. I can do my maths, 8 hours off. We are here. It's probably just going to be the pair of us today. Travis is saluting, unless he's on the main screen. No one can see you, Travis, because only the two of us. But good to see you, Travis. Today,
you as well,
everybody. As always, we're talking. We need about an hour before we go live to talk about all the stuff that's happening. But let's tell everybody what's going on. Google for Business. This is going to be about Google for Business. My newsletter is going to support this weekend. And I'm going to talk about the following areas very quickly. And we're going to be connecting the dots. And I'm going to talk about specifically Google for Business. How many times am I going to say that? A lot. First one, Google Local. I'm going to talk to you about local. I want to talk to you about reviews. I'm going to talk to you about a post that's on the website. Because if you are into this space, you're going to want to see it. That's the first thing. Next thing, we're going to talk about search. And I'm going to stress on personalized search, and I might touch on Twitter. Even though we're talking Google for Business, we're talking about search and the importance of that. Next, we're going to come on to talk about collections, some opportunities. People, you know who you are. Send me videos earlier today. There's opportunities to connect with more people through collections because people can know very focused what you're on about. Oh, it went light. Look at that. Next, Google Drive, mobile. Talk about that a little bit. Authority building. Still, I've been over on Blab today. Here, we've got a lot of tools. I want to talk about authority building. We're in a Hangout on air. I want to touch on Hangouts as well. And we'll talk a little bit about YouTube and engagement on YouTube. Travis is pointing at things. I don't know what he's doing. And I'm going to talk about AdWords and what's going on with that.
I was touching.
You're touching. High five. Okay. So this is about Google's ecosystem. Let us remember, ladies and gentlemen, that in the early days, we used to say Google Plus is Google. Denny LaBelle told me that Google Plus is Google, and it was. It was the upgraded 2.0 socialized Google, not just a social platform, but a social layer that goes across Google's products and services. That was Google Plus. The first sign that things were changing in terms of the name, not necessarily the concept, the name was when the login button, which was on at the time over 2 million websites, went from Google Plus to Google. Same thing though, same thing. Talk about the Google One account, the login. That was originally, I believe, had a fleeting time when it was a Google Plus account, became a Google One account, and then became a Google account that you log into your Android device, or if you're logging into Chrome or going to your Gmail, or whatever it is. So you have Google Plus, the social destination, we have the social layer. The thing that we have now, 4 years after this was started, and sort of 3.5 years since I got involved, or started on the platform, should I say, I mapped very much how these things link together. And I think that mapping gives you an understanding of Google that is rather different to if you're using these distinct services. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many people are passionate about it, is it's enormous. So the strength that Google has is a huge infrastructure that helps you with collaborative working, helps you be more efficient, helps you with video broadcasting, helps you with surfacing content in search, helps you with your emails, and it's enormous amount of tools. But the destination aspect is where the community is. The community is not in the tools. The tools are for you to use, for you to work with other people with, but the community is here on the nth thread. I can say hi to Nikki. I can see you there, and Bojan and Pizza. I know Paul's there. I just picked up your message, Paul. So thank you, and to Stephen, Faith Bars. Another bars, getting to bar. I'm having a curry tonight, and to Marilyn, and to Mary, and to David, and to Mark, and to everybody else who's on the thread. If people haven't got the mobile link, by the way, if somebody could drop it on the event thread, just so that people can watch on the mobile. I think somebody was asking. Okay, so Google for Business. You have to know what you're doing in your business in order to know which tools you're going to use, and also who are the best people, the right people for you to connect with in relation to your business. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to live here. It means that potentially you can, oh, it's gone funny color again. It means that you can potentially work out from a strategic point of view, and I'm going to give you a model from a strategic point of view to the tactical point of view to then the operational actions to do. Strategically, you can write this down. Why are you doing what you're doing? Yeah, many of you have heard me say this over the last few months, but why are you doing? Where is all of this going? Create the vision, start to get your head into what could be. Now, collections. Collections are a great way of displaying a passion. And I believe that that's one of the wonderful things that you have here is the community will support your passions. So if you are looking from a business point of view and you're just saying, hey, I love this aspect of business, then find people that also love that aspect and you start to connect. You start to build a community around it and you start to build your authority around it. I'm not sure what's going on with the color here. It's like the 1970s. It's like soft focus, makes me look younger, look like at least 39. So you find the people, so strategic, okay, then start to go into the tactics. And there's a funny thing, tactics, but you start to look at how you're going to find the people. On Google+, are you going to join communities? You're going to start to build relationships there. Are you going to start to follow collections, search for collections and start to engage with people and relate to people there? Do you look with hashtags? So those you start to get the tactical areas, but also remember, Twitter. All the tweets are indexable by Google. They've got the Firehose deal, so there's a partnership that's occurring that we have to understand that is happening. Are the people there? Can you get their attention? LinkedIn, can you get their attention? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Instagram? And then you start putting your daily operational level together. And all of that is just about one thing, connecting with the right people. That's it. Right people for you. And I would say the best people for you as well, because you can connect and be friends, but how does it plug into your overarching view of where you're going and what you want to happen in your business? Okay, so once you know what you're doing, you then start looking at the tools. Myself and Travis, I'm going to talk with Travis about the Hangouts and the Hangouts on there, but I just want to give you a whole map because I think the time's come to say, okay, well, what about this Google for Business thing? Let's start with Drive. I use Drive 100 times a day, not quite, but I use it all day long. I share links with my assistant, go to Plus Your Business blog and find the process that I use. I put the link into a private community. I ping her onto it. We leave comments in the comment thread. We have a super efficient way of working with Drive and Google communities. If you're not using that, then I would question whether you're being as efficient as you can. Somebody today I was with, we had to cut and paste the content from a Word doc into a Drive doc and then work on it together. And I'm working on it, they're working on it. It's one of my coaching clients. They were like, wow, this is great. So, well, we've been doing this for years. You've got to catch up. So the tech is there. You've got to use it, but you've got to know why you're using it, right? Not just with that, with forms, with presentations. I've just been through hundreds of presentations, literally hundreds of presentations I've used over the last few years that are stored in Drive, and I can replicate them and I can send them to my assistant. She can work on them, but it's wonderful, right? So if you don't know that, that's there. Use that. So Google for Business, think efficiency. Let's now jump to search. Search default is private. So a little education for those that don't know, Google's, it used to be called personalized, it's not, it's called private now. Your Google Plus posts are indexed. Some will surface in search for you if they're relevant when you're looking for keywords, so you'll find your own private post, or it could for other people who are following you, in other words, in your network. So when your content is relevant, you may well find that it surfaces for them. So your network, if it's being built from a point of relevancy, people follow you back that want to be connected with you because of the subject matters that you talk about, each single post is indexed. So you can be influencing your little faces next to it. Their search results, still the same. We haven't really talked about personalized search. We haven't talked about social SEO on the show for a while, but it was huge. And for years, that was one of the reasons to be on Google+. Posts are still showing the face. Google+ posts, your blog posts aren't. The bigger the networks are, as people share it, the sharer, their version of the post can surface for other people in the network. So it spreads your post. They spread your post and it surfaces in search. All of this is kind of forgotten now, and people don't necessarily realize that the Google Plus posts necessarily, all that there's been a history of just getting comfortable with this level of privatized search, really personalized. So, but the word is private now, but it's personal. Okay. So what have I just said there? Posts are indexed. The community that you have around you, the people that follow you, there you are influencing potentially their content. When people share your content, potentially they are also sharing so that more people could see your content being surfaced in search via them. Their face may show to it, but it's your content they're taking into search. This is a big thing. Why am I telling you all this today when we're doing a show on Google for Business? Well, of course, business point of view, from a branding point of view, that's really important. From an authority point of view, we know that there's a shared authority process which is going on with social. If somebody who has a high authority in a subject, or this is the overarching assumption, Mark Trapagan, Eric Enger, David Amelin, myself, lots of people would say, we've got the evidence to say that when you share a post, if a group of people then re-engage on that post and share it, it's very likely they are signaling to Google that that post has relevance to them and therefore should surface for other people in search, even if it's a blog post. If you want the example, and this is because it's shared by people at Google, I still think I've got a number one for what is Google. So 1.2 billion pages, maybe number two, maybe number three now, but for that's been almost 2 years. Vic and Doctor shared it, other people at Google shared it. It was a high authority share, lots of shares, and you can just build these case studies. Okay, so we've got this authority build, and we're talking about search results as well. Local is the area that a lot of people are not paying enough attention to outside of here, right? So in here, we know it, right? We know that local is one of the main reasons for people to have a Google Plus page. It has to be a brand page. Reviews, go to plusyourbusiness.com, have a look at the reviews survey from brightlocal.com that we did the interview. I did an interview with Priya and Nick for this week. I pulled out some stats. And I pulled up about 8 interpretations of their information. And they are the strongest, I could say, as to why everybody needs to start looking at reviews. It's because it influences the behavior of the people that are looking. Forget about them trying to get search results. Don't worry about that, whether it increases ranking and things like that. It may be a ranking factor, yes. We know that from the Moz report, people's opinion, maybe. But it changes people's behaviors. If you look at the information, the difference between a 3-star review and a 4 to 5-star review, it was something like 56% of people said that they would buy from a business with 3 stars. And then it goes to something like 80+% would buy from, it may even be 90% with 4 stars. I'd love you to fish out the stats and put them on the, I put a whole 4 things together that came from that report. So something like 56% would buy from a 3-star business, but then it leaps to certainly over 80% that would buy from a 4-star. So you look at, so what this is really intention that social proof gives. So if you're in local business, you want to get onto your Google Plus business, Google Plus page up and running, which is Google My Business. You want to start getting stars, because if you don't get them and your competitors do, then they outshine you in search. Okay, there's more to search, there's more to local than just that. You want the other sites, you want other things like Yelp and TripAdvisor, you want all of that set up and all linking back to your site. You want to create a real solid infrastructure online to your reputation. But we've got these things and they're free, and the Google Plus pages. Do not give up on Google Plus as part of the Google Plus ecosystem. If you're a local business, they're really going to be, and they're pushing hard on the local guides program. Going back one step, authority. Going back a step before that, building community around you, building your personal brand. Step before that, strategically, and starting to look at how Drive in particular can help you build your efficiency within your organization. There's more to it, but I'm going to come to Travis, because you've had a monologue from me for a little while. It's like Gary Vee show, and less people in the room. Travis, let's talk about the value of Hangouts, and then the value of Hangouts on there, from your perspective.
Well, I mean, from the get-go, I mean, Hangouts has been, even though it gets a little bit complicated, understanding the various layers, it's totally efficient in my mind for, like you were saying, just collaboration and using Drive, using all these different aspects. It's efficient, you know. Even though that, like lately I've been looking at Blab and whatnot. You've spent a lot of time on Blab, and it has its place for sure, but it's limited in terms of, from my understanding, you can't really share or work on documents on Blab together or anything like that. It's more of a discussion.
Yeah. So the first thing, let's look at a Hangout and the flexibility you got with a Hangout versus Blab. Just as an example, and I've been over there, I've been sampling, I've been making notes and trying to figure out what the formats are and things over the last few days. But Hangouts, you can have private. You can have them go out to a circle of people. You can have them public. And you can do things like include the YouTube app in them, or you can use, as Travis says, you can include the Drive dock and go there. They haven't actually got the Drive app in here anymore. I think that's actually gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't integrate it in, but you put it in the side chat and you can work on it. I'm pretty sure that's a little. But what you've then got is you've got a private workspace. This is a virtual workspace, and I've been saying this for a long time. This is how I would approach Hangouts. Is think of them as places where people can agree on a certain way of being, and they're not just video calls. There's something that you can do, which is the permalinks. You can just keep them open all the time. I think that is an undersold principle. Now, we use one in the academy. We have one as a permalink, and people can drop in. I was in there a lot today, everybody, but everyone was obviously working. And I was in and out on bad. But you can create these to be spaces. And I think that the privacy side of it is really, really important. When I go to Blab, and next we're going to move on to the Hangouts on Air, I look and go, even when they're off air, you forget you're off air, and because you're on air, and it's
it's odd. So like,
it's a funny thing. So it's like you're not because it's fully public. Now, I think that it should stay public. I think it's clean and simple, and you don't have to search for things. I think that's good. However, format-wise, admittedly, it's just myself and Travis today because I wanted to talk specifically about Google for Business. Next week we have, guess who we got? David Amman. Trust him. We're talking about a little bit more. But this week, I want to focus down on these tools, looking at Hangouts on Air next. Obviously, this is a better format for YouTube, number one, right? So for repurposing stuff, this is a really friendly way to go. Having the Brady Bunch kind of approach, it's difficult because you don't know who to look at, where's it going? It's a bit more complex than having the Hangout. They've done that very, very well.
Well, and another thing too, Martin, is that, like, you know how we've upped kind of the game on some of our shows here where I've had you on another screen or something. You can't do that with Blab, really, because then I would be, or whoever has that setup would be both on the screen and in the studio, and that would be a little weird.
On that note, myself and Travis, and we can't say what the thing is until it happens, but next week we're doing a there's not much higher profile, there's probably one higher profile show that you could do, but we're doing a very high profile show which will be hanging out and it will be public, so we'll let everybody know. And there is a crew that's going to be in a big city, can't say which one, in America. How vague is this? Involving politics, something like. But we've got a big show, and we've got the film crew that's got two cameras, got one on the stage and one other. They're going to be switching between. Travis is going to be in San Diego running the show from that side of it. And you're going to see something that is going to be very high end. And it was great. And we did the test run, 2 nights ago, and it's fantastic, wasn't it, Travis? Now that production quality, people could go, well, why Hangout is that? Yes, because we want the user interaction. We want the engagement. We want it to be an event. So that it's really important. It ends up with a piece of content that can be repurposed time and time again. We can have 1-minute clips, we can have 3-minute clips, we can have interviews that then happen after, we can keep it going. There's lots of things we can do. So let's remember that this tool gives something that potentially other tools don't. And you don't have to make it public. So a lot of the Hangouts that I do are unlisted. Anyone with a link can view. I could do it as a private circle, but I do it unlisted just for ease. And I embed it into the event, and everyone knows that that's the process that we go through in order to have an engaged event with a private group, up to 100 people, could be whatever number. But then we end up with a video, and I can put that on a private members area or things like that. I can tell you, with Blab, I haven't been doing that. I've done it once, and I don't think it's the best post content. I like the format, I like the place, I like the engagement, I like the chitty chat, and I include people a lot more potentially than I am now, because I'm flicking between screens at the minute, although I could sort that out. And I will come to your question, Heidi, and hello, Michael, as well. But These are amazing tools. And I think we have to realize how early in the game Google did this, and yet still very, very good, because what's it about? It's about content, it's about connecting with people, and it does that job incredibly well. So,
well, the other thing, Martin, that I really like about Hangouts too is the Hangout Chat Box that stays, that you can always access. I work with a few gentlemen, and one of them's in Detroit, and it just, and with you and other things we've worked on, it just makes communication really easy. You can share docs within that, just the chat. You can share video, you can share images, put links. It is just a very easy access way of communicating, and you can really determine who's in that and who's not. It can be very private or very open.
Yeah, it does more. So I'm going to come to Heidi's question before, and then I come to others, and then I've got another big point to make about AdWords. We haven't even touched on AdWords. I could talk about Android. Why don't we do both of those in a second? Heidi first. Heidi, you can't do it from Pages. Google Drive and Pages. This has been something that's come up in the Google Help community quite a few times. You can't do anything about that. There isn't a workaround particularly easy. I think that you probably know the one. I can't even remember what it is. If there is one, you have to download the photos and then re-upload them into the page, I think, and then you can access them after from the page. The reason why, in part, is rights. And I believe this is the reasoning. If you're a page, any manager of the page would be able to access the drive that the page has access to. You may not want everybody who's got access to the page to have access to that drive folder. It was something like that. I don't know for sure, but the answer is no. You can't. You've got to do it from your profile for Drive. Okay, next bit. And then we're going to come to Android. I'll just put my little note in here. See, I use it for notes as well. See that? Android, if I spell Android right. Because something happened today, and I think it's important that everyone sees where all this is moving and why we're focusing back down on Google for Business. AdWords. AdWords is the monster platform that, if you haven't dug into it, this is the backbone to how Google make money. Right? AdWords. And I've been using AdWords since 2003. I've digging deep for a reason, which I may hopefully tell you by the end of next week what's going on. But along the way, you start to see the nuance as a marketer. If you have a scale of 0 to 10, you can start your AdWords account. You can get in there, and you might put some keywords in. Okay, you're at level 1. And then you might run it for a little while, and you start to add in your negative keywords, and you're at level 2. And then you might start to optimize your campaigns, and you might start to set a particular price for a conversion, and you get level, and you keep on going, you keep on going, you keep on going. It's enormous, absolutely enormous. And if you look at Jim Banks, that he's running millions and millions of dollars worth of campaigns for a large business, and we're working together on some projects. As part of the Google ecosystem, let's look at what's happened this week. And I've got the blog post. It was going to go out today. It's going to go out tomorrow. It's just a quick commentary on, you can take an email list, you can upload it, your own personal email list, you can upload it into Google AdWords, and you can market to those people who are on your email list. And everyone go, okay, Facebook's been unable to do that for a while. Sure. But they're making it easy. And they're making the language simple. You take your email list. That's all you have to do. And potentially from that audiences, and this then becomes part of the remarketing. So yeah, this is huge if it's done at the 5, 6, 7 level. This is what I was getting around to saying, is that if you do it badly, it will fail. And this is one of the big things I find with AdWords, is that if you only do the first thing, you think, oh, I'm just going to upload a list. It doesn't work like that. You have to go in so subtly and so deep and so nuanced to make it work. So we are going to be launching, I said we would be launching the agency at the end of the year. We will be, and AdWords is going to be one of the offerings that we have. And we're starting now, but little by little, everybody. But I believe that, so let me explain how it is, Travis, and then your confused face may or may not.
All right.
So how it works is this. This is very interesting, I think. If you take your email list and you do a match, and you can use Search Close Scope, you can actually find the people that got Google Plus accounts using those emails, or the other way around. Which way around can I do it? I can't remember which one, one of the ways. But you can match the email addresses. 60% of people in my email list, I can find their Google Plus account. That's the way it is. So if I upload the list, I can match it to Google Plus. So we actually could see on Google Plus, because we have a little app, who was in our list. Maybe I'll bring that app back. That might be useful for people. I'll have a look at that. But what this means is you can pay attention to the people that are already on your existing list. I might see if I can get that app created because it's pretty cool. Just that bit, nothing else. AdWords is saying, well, they will use their space, which is the Google network, and particularly going to be the display network, to display adverts to those people. It will be hyper-personalized because it's your list, your relationship with those people across them, wherever they're going on the web. So I think that that's something, again, on why we're focused back down on Google for Business, really, really much, and so over the next few weeks, you're going to see a change for Plus Your Business. We're getting very tight on this. There's many opportunities that if we stay at the level 1, 2, we're all going to miss. I think we've got to up our game considerably to understand how far the big players are in terms of their understanding and application of those skills across Google. And that's where we want to be. We understand how to do the content marketing, we understand search, we understand how to move social. Let's now get super, super smart in all the areas of like advertising. Travis Taylor.
Just one question. So with those lists, are those targeted through email then, or does it stay within the Google Plus platform, or where does those lists get targeted at?
No, but my understanding would be the display network. So let's say that you are in my list. You then go off to a website that's talking about virtual reality. I could be targeting you for a virtual reality app, or I could be targeting you for some storytelling course about virtual reality, and we'll bring in somebody in that you are a fan of. I can then target specifically to you in that place, is my understanding.
Okay, interesting.
So it's an extension of my list, enables me to reach more people's eyeballs across a display network with a very specific message.
Right.
I mean, and this is huge. This is going to change how people market online when they've got a list. You've got to build your list. Okay, last bit. Big thing today. It sounds tiny, but it's not when you start to look at attention. AdWords. Sorry, Android. Getting the right one. Android. I picked up the phone today. I put a post out there about this and pushed notification, which I've got these things turned off. Right off. Very few buzzes. I still have the occasional one that kind of gets me, but I got rid of it because I want it on my terms. I want my phone on my terms. So what do I get? Push notification because there's an update, I think, on the whatever it's called. What we're in, Marshmallow. Maybe it's Marshmallow. I'm not sure if it's Lollipop. It pushed a Twitter notification. And it was I can't remember, check the blog post I saw on Google Plus post in the last 2 minutes Russian, that I put out today for the language, but it was suggestions. It got my attention because it pushed it onto the phone. Apps and push notifications. I know that a lot of people, small businesses, it would be like, oh, we are going to solve this. We've got to get so that people are seeing apps as well as websites. You cannot, and we'll take Nikki's question and then we'll start to wrap up. You cannot rely only on people searching for you, particularly on a mobile. It's really hard. Okay, you want your mobile responsive website, but we will start to look at apps. If you can afford it, start to explore how you could add value and how you could download. You can use AdWords to then get the app installs, which is another thing that they've really cleaned up. Huge area, but we're going to come into this and we're going to have a podcast, all being well, specifically answering some of these questions, like how to get your app #1 in the App Store from professionals that I know from Silicon Valley in that area. Okay, last bit, question from Nikki, and then we'll move towards wrapping up. Do you need to spend quite a lot of money on AdWords in order to get a fair return? The answer to that is no. It depends on the niche. And it's not to do with do you need to spend a lot of money. It's do you have, here's the simple thing, Nikki, there's a simple way of approaching it. 100 people, click. 100 people visit your site. How many people take the action you want? This is a simplified version. If you have 100 and 5 take the action, that could be filling the query form, it could be opt into a newsletter, it could be phone you, whatever it is, you have a 5% conversion rate. So that, if it costs you $100, for the clicks, 100 clicks, $1 a click, and you get 5 people that sign up or buy or get in touch in some way, then it costs you $20 per person for that action. That becomes the model that you work. And as I said, there's more you can add into it, but it's very straightforward maths. How much would you pay in order to have that person do that thing? So if you're selling shoes and it costs you $20 to acquire that customer, but you make an additional $40, then you go, great, I'll spend more on AdWords. Do not waste money until you know if your landing pages work. So in other words, do tests and you do care. Get in touch. We'll help you. Nikki will help you if you ever want to go that route. Don't rush. We are going to be putting a lot more out about AdWords. There was a nice little guide on Plus Your Business that is an introduction and gives you all the maths formulas just so you've got that in your head. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just a minute over. Thank you to Travis Taylor. That was Plus Your Business Show. This is Google for Business. We are going to be very much focused on educating everyone around Google for Business over the coming weeks, months, and years. Take care and see you all next time.